Ever feel like you were kind of just a pawn in someone else's game?
Hmm.
Like you're playing a part in a story you didn't even write.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially these days.
Yeah.
With social media and all that.
Totally. Well, that's what we're diving into today. Julia Fox's recent interview. She gets really candid, about her time with Kanye West.
I was reading that.
Back in 2022, remember?
Yeah, wild time.
She did not hold back, like, at all.
No, not at all. It was a different side to the story we've heard.
Yeah, and it's like she doesn't just say it was a bad breakup or whatever. She goes as far as to say, and I quote, this is a direct quote, "the most uncomfortable situation of my life."
Wow.
She felt used as a pawn. That's heavy stuff.
Yeah, and that's the part that really gets me, when you think about it. Because it makes you think about the power dynamics.
Oh, for sure.
Especially in a relationship that's like plastered all over the tabloids. I mean, you've got the media frenzy, the pressure to maintain a certain image.
Especially with someone like Kanye, right?
Exactly. And let's be real, he was going through a lot publicly at that time.
To put it mildly.
So when she's saying she felt used, you got to wonder, was it calculated?
Right.
Or were they both kind of, I don't know, swept up in this tornado of attention?
Right.
Each playing a role they didn't necessarily sign up for.
Totally. And it's interesting because when you look back, it was really just a blip, right? Like they were only together for what, a couple of months?
Yeah, it was short and intense.
But she's talking about how this experience has affected her for life. And at first it seems dramatic, but then again...
Think about it. The microscope they were under, the paparazzi, the rumors. It's got to do something to you.
Totally.
To try and hold on to who you are in all of that.
Yeah.
Next to someone as, let's just say, expressive as Kanye.
Yeah.
That takes strength.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what really stood out to me?
What's that?
The NDA.
Oh, yeah.
He asked her to sign one. Like, come on.
It's wild, right?
Right.
But sadly, not uncommon at all in those circles.
Yeah.
It's all about control. You're keeping a tight lid on the narrative.
It's almost expected, which is kind of scary if you think about it.
It is a little bit, yeah.
Like even romance has to be micromanaged.
Right.
Speaking of labels, right, and like expectations, the way she connects all this back to fame is really interesting. She was called, like, what, It Girl back in 2014? And it follows her. Like, that label still sticks.
It's true. And it's interesting because that term, It Girl, it comes with all this baggage, this idea of, like, effortlessness, a certain look, a persona that's almost always projected onto young women especially.
And it's never the full picture, is it?
Never. And it begs the question, right? Like how much of that image is actually her versus what the media, what we decide it is.
Yeah, exactly. And she actually says that in the interview.
What does she say?
She says people are always surprised by the real Julia Fox. Like they meet her and they're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, she's multidimensional.
Right. Like more than just this two-dimensional image.
It makes you wonder, like, can anyone really be authentic in the public eye?
That's a good question.
Or are we all putting on some kind of performance?
Whoa. Okay, so this isn't just about, like, celebrity gossip, right?
Right.
What's the takeaway for those of us who, don't have paparazzi following us around?
I think the big thing is it reminds us to, take things with a grain of salt. What you see, especially on social media,
it's not the full story.
Often a carefully constructed persona.
Totally.
And maybe embracing those quirks, being our own weird little bug. That's the real rebellion in a way.
I love that. Weird little bug.
Right.
So how do we do it? How do we all just stay true to ourselves, quirks and all, in a world that's constantly like, fit in this box, be this person?
That's the question, isn't it?
It's the $1 million question.
It really is.
Food for thought.